Many years ago in the village of Umu, there lived a young woman named Ego. She was a single mother to a young boy and a successful businesswoman in the village market. Ego was forced to leave her village at the age of 16 after she had gotten pregnant and could not provide the person who impregnated her. Oddly, the boy who was responsible for her pregnancy had left the village shortly before she discovered that she was pregnant, and she could not reach him to inform him about it. Her parents threw her out of the house, and out of shame she left the village. She arrived at Umunnachi and started a new life there as a total stranger, striving against all odds to make ends meet. She pulled through and had a baby boy whom she named Dozy. By the time Dozy was 10 years old, Ego had already built her business such that she became one of the wealthy women in Umunnachi, and she had lots of employees working for her. She was 26 years old at the time and quite young to get married too, but she had a problem. Ego was beautiful, and she had a good personality. As such, she easily attracted a lot of men to herself. But the moment these men discovered that she was wealthy and had lots of people working under her, they would slowly withdraw and break up any relationship they had with her. They were intimidated by her success as they believed that she must be used to power and influence and would not respect them. Coupled with the fact that she also had a son who would definitely divide her attention from them, they felt Ego had a lot of baggage than they could deal with, and they all left her one by one. Ego felt bad about her situation. She really wanted to get married to a good man, have a really big wedding, and raise up a happy family. But none of that was possible, as no man wanted to get serious with her. She suspected that it was because of Dozy, her son, that they were all avoiding her, but she could not do anything about it, as she would not throw her son away because of a man. Since she had no control over her situation, she decided to concentrate on her son and give him the best she could. She would pour all her love and attention on him. Thankfully, she already had a thriving business, and so together they would make a happy and complete family. Dozy grew up getting everything he desired, both tangible and intangible, and he didn't feel the vacuum of not having a father. His mother enrolled him in a good school in the village, and she was already making good plans for his future. The bond between Dozy and his mother was so close and visible that his schoolmates would always talk about it. Some went as far as asking him if he did not have a father at all, because that would be the only reason for the closeness between him and his mother. The much talks were getting to Dozy, and he decided to ask his mother, "Mother, do I have a father?" Ego was shocked to hear the question, because this was the first time he would be asking her that. "Dozy, why are you asking me this kind of question? Do you need anything, or did someone say anything to you?" But Dozy did not reply his mother. He just sat there looking at her intently. Ego felt uneasy. She knew the boy was not a baby anymore and would need an explanation someday. Since he had already brought it up, then why not? "I would tell him, 'My son, you have a father. You don't just know him, and I'm not sure he also knows about you. I was living with my parents when we had a relationship, but he left the village before I discovered that I was pregnant. There was no way to reach him, and my parents threw me out of their house because of the shame and disappointment I caused them. I had to come here to have you and start up a new life. Look, Dozy, it doesn't matter if you have a father or not. We have been happy together. I am your father and your mother, and you are my son and my husband. Don't let what anybody tells you get to you. I will make sure you don't lack any love or attention," Ego explained to her son. Dozy was moved with compassion for his mother. He went and hugged her and promised to always make her happy and not let her feel the vacuum of not having a husband. The mother and son relationship was so strong that they were hardly ever apart. If one did not know who they were, they would mistake them for being couples, since Ego was just 16 years apart from her son and she still had a youthful look. One day, they both attended a wedding ceremony of one of Ego's employees. The young lady got married to a very rich man, and the wedding was an elaborate one. The sparkling white princess diamond-studded wedding gown the bride wore made her look like a princess, and every woman that saw her walk through the aisle got emotional. Ego was not left out. She was sitting next to her son, and the moment she saw her employee in the dreamy wedding gown, her emotions started to boil. She had often fantasized about being a princess bride, but that dream was cut off from her. She unconsciously started to shed tears, and had to quickly wipe it away with her handkerchief. Dozy noticed his mother's change in mood and was surprised when he saw her wiping away her tears. He held her hand and squeezed it tightly to give her comfort and make her feel better. Throughout the wedding ceremony, Ego had mixed feelings, but she tried to cover it up. As they went back home later that day, Dozy asked his mother what happened to you at the wedding. "You were so emotional, as if you remembered something really painful." Ego smiled and told him that she had a series of wishful memories as she saw her employee walk down the aisle. "You know, I have always dreamed of being dressed in my wedding gown and walk down the aisle too to meet my husband. That was way before I got pregnant with you. But after I had you and started doing well for myself, I thought I could still live out that dream. Unfortunately for me, all the men that came my way did not commit to me. It was as if the moment they got to know me well, a spirit would just chase them off from me. So you see, my son, that dream of me being a bride is dead. It can never be a reality again." Dozy finally understood his mother's reaction, but he felt all hope was not lost. "But mother, I still believe you can still have your dream come true. You can meet a good man tomorrow who will marry you, and I will stand behind you to hold your veil for you," Dozy told his mother, and they both laughed. However, deep down in Ego's mind, something had been rekindled. "I can still be a bride. I can still have my dream come true," Ego thought to herself. Dozy gained admission into the university and left home. It was the first time he was leaving his mother, and it was a really painful one for them. It was especially hard for Ego, who had built her life around her son. She found the house empty, and it seemed as if she had lost her husband. She just couldn't bear the thoughts of not seeing her son for up to 3 months, and she didn't even want to stay for that long. 1 week after Dozy left for school, Ego traveled to see him. She had rented a private apartment for him to be comfortable, and so that Saturday afternoon Dozy heard a knock on his door and was shocked when he saw his mother at the door, looking pale and with sunken eye bags, a sign that she had not been sleeping for days. "Mother, what are you doing here? And why do you look like this? Are you sick?" Dozy asked curiously. Ego entered inside and immediately hugged her son. "How have you been coping? Are you okay?" she asked him. Dozy looked at her surprised. "I'm fine, mother. Is anything the matter? Why did you come here?" Ego sighed and told him, "I have not been able to sleep since you left home. My mind keeps on running back and forth, and I felt like something bad might happen to you. I had to rush here to be sure that you are okay." Dozy smiled at his mother. "Why don't you just say that you're missing me, mother? Of course I'm fine. Nothing can go wrong. At least other students are here too." Ego stayed throughout the weekend and left back for Umenachi. However, she continued to visit him every other weekend at his lodge, such that his lodge mates started to tease him, calling him Mommy's boy. Dozy would smile at them, telling them that they wouldn't understand. Dozy soon finished school and got a well-paying job in the city. He based there and would visit his mother at Umenachi regularly. Ego's business was still doing well, even better than before, but even though she based in Umenachi, she would always go visit Dozy at his place. The mother and son were comfortable with their relationship and never thought that it would be a problem. And then suddenly Dozy told his mother that he wanted to get married. Apparently he had been seeing a lady, but she had never visited him at his house, and he also did not allow his relationship with her affect that of him and his mother. Ego was thrown off because of the news. She had gotten so carried away all these years that she forgot that sooner or later her precious son would want to settle down. But she was not a selfish mother. She only wanted what was best for her son. "Wow, my son wants to get married. How time flies. This is a very good decision. How long have you known her for?" Ego asked. Dozy replied her, "Almost 2 years now." Ego was surprised. "That's a very long time. How did you manage to keep this away from me? I thought we did not keep secrets from each other." Dozy smiled and told her, "Mother, it was meant to be a surprise, but she knows about you. In fact, I have told her everything about you and she loves you already. She can't wait to meet you too." Ego then smiled and said, "Okay then. I would love whoever loves my son, as long as she means well for you." Dozy was pleased, and he thanked his mother. Dozy informed his fiancée Amanda that they would be going to see his mother, but she was nervous. She had heard so much about her from Dozy, and from what she knew about mothers who were clingy, they usually made bad mothers-in-law. In fact, it was because she had been avoiding to meet her that she begged Dozy to keep their relationship a secret from his mother. But she could not hold back anymore. The time has come for her to meet his mother, and she must do so if she had to marry Dozy. Dozy could notice her fear and tension, and so he assured her, "My dear, you don't need to be afraid about anything. My mother is a very kind person. She would love you as long as she loves me. She would pour that same love on you." Amanda nodded her head, but she still had her fears. Much to her surprise, the day they went to see Ego, she welcomed them warmly, and she was all over Amanda. She would go into the kitchen and get a piece of fish and put into Amanda's mouth. Before Amanda recovered from that one, Ego would ask her to sit on her laps, and she would pamper her like a baby. Amanda was really shocked. The love was just too much that she did not know whether to be scared or happy. She had expected her to be so hostile towards her for coming to snatch her son, but this reaction of hers was unbelievable. Even after they returned to the city, Ego would call Amanda on the phone every day, and whenever she came to visit Dozy at his house, she would tell him to invite Amanda over. Amanda soon became relaxed and fell in love with Ego. Ego was just so sweet that she was really grateful to have such a woman as her mother-in-law. She proudly told everyone, including her mother, that she had the best mother-in-law, and they could not wait to meet her in person. The date for their wedding was fixed, and Ego was the most excited. She was finally going to be the host of a wedding for the first time in her life. This was a dream come true for her, even though it was her son's wedding. Her son's wedding was still her wedding anyway. The bond between Ego and Amanda had grown so close that they planned the wedding together. Amanda willingly agreed to everything Ego suggested about the wedding. She knew that Ego had not had that privilege before, and she did not mind indulging her. The date was drawing really close, and Amanda decided to go check out for wedding gowns. And as usual, she went with Ego. And after Amanda had tested a few and made her choice, she noticed the excitement on Ego's face and she excitedly told her, "Mother, why don't you try out some? You are still young and beautiful. I'm sure they'll fit you perfectly." Ego was surprised. She did not expect it. "Wow, are you sure?" she asked. Amanda nodded happily. Amanda brought out some wedding gowns for her, and Ego felt like a young girl as she wore them. There was a particular one that she loved, and she wished she could keep it. But she quickly snapped out of her wishful thinking. Ego thanked Amanda for the opportunity to test what she had always wanted to do. That night, Ego could not sleep. She kept thinking about the wedding gown. And when she later fell asleep, she found herself dressed in the wedding gown, walking in front of a crowd who were cheering her on. Dozy was glad that his wife and mother were getting along really well. Amanda never complained whenever she was with him. In fact, she was even the one who would take the initiative to give the mother and son privacy. The day for the wedding came, and Ego was dressed up in her gorgeous wedding gown. Dozy was also dressed up. However, they looked for Ego, but they didn't see her anywhere, and they just assumed that maybe she was taking care of something at the background. They got to the church, and the minister called out the couple to the altar to take their vows. Amanda and Dozy came forward, but as they were about to say their vows, a loud murmuring erupted from the crowd behind them. The couple turned back and were shocked to see Ego walking towards them, smiling heartily, dressed in a beautiful wedding gown, the same one that she had loved at the bridal shop the other day. Apparently, she had gone back to the wedding shop later to get it. Dozy was embarrassed and quietly asked her, "Mother, what are you doing? Why are you dressed like the bride?" Ego smiled and told him, "Please, my son, let me share this day with you. You know I have always longed to have an opportunity like this, but I was unlucky. I felt this was the only opportunity I would ever get in my life." Dozy was really angry, "But you should have discussed it with me first. How do you think my wife will feel about it? This is her day." Dozy wanted to burst out more when Amanda held him. "Please, my love, let her enjoy this day with us. I don't mind at all. She is also my mother, and anything to make her happy on this day. Please let her have it." Dozy looked at his mother and then at his wife, and he nodded, but he was really angry at his mother. He did not expect this from her at all, and so Ego stood behind Dozy, dressed in her sparkling princess white wedding gown, as the couple took their vows. At the reception also, as Amanda changed into a dinnerwear, Ego changed into hers. She really came prepared for the wedding. Dozy wanted to react, but Amanda held him and calmed him down. Amanda's mother was not comfortable with everything, and she called her aside. "What does your mother-in-law think she's doing? Is this the same woman you have been singing her praises all along? This woman I'm seeing here is not who you think she is. You need to—" Amanda cut her mother short immediately. "Please stop, mother. She's not like that. You just don't know her. That is why you are judging her like this. Besides, this is my wedding and I'm not complaining." Amanda's mother stood there looking at her daughter, shocked. She shook her head in disbelief. "Don't worry, I'll be here waiting for the end results. You will surely come back crying when it starts to play out." After the wedding, Dozy and Amanda had planned to go somewhere for their honeymoon. Amanda shared the news with Ego, but shockingly, Ego said, "Can I go with you too, please? I have always wanted to experience what it feels like. I promise you I won't intrude into your privacy." Amanda was shocked as she looked at her mother-in-law, but after a quick thought she agreed and promised to speak to Dozy about it. The moment Amanda told Dozy about it, Dozy exploded. "No, never. That would never happen. Where have you heard that the mother-in-law follows a couple to their honeymoon before? I blame you for this. You keep indulging my mother. That is why she keeps pushing her limits. I think I have to address this once and for all." Dozy made to leave, but Amanda held him back, begging him, "Please, my husband, you need to calm down. Don't be so quick to react. I am a woman and I know exactly how she feels. She did not get the chance to experience all this in her youth, and she might possibly never get the opportunity to again since you are her only son. Please, let's not spoil it for her. You know she loves you, and she means no harm. She just feels like a little girl, and I don't mind her getting her way. Please don't break our hearts by depriving her of this." Dozy's heart melted. He held Amanda's hand and looked into her eyes. "You know, I remembered when I was much younger. We went to a wedding, and my mother started to cry when she saw the bride dressed in her wedding gown. I asked her what the problem was, and she gave me the same reason you just did now. Thank you for being understanding and gracious towards her. But then what is it with you women and weddings? There's really no big deal we need. If it was only men in this world, I'm not sure there would be any weddings at all." Dozy joked, and they both laughed. The couple and the mother-in-law traveled to the honeymoon location, and Dozy booked a separate room for his mother. Just as she promised, Ego did not disturb the new couple. She stayed in her room, and when they went out to have fun, she would maintain her distance from them, enjoying the childlike pleasures the environment offered her. On this particular evening, they had gone out to the beach to relax. and as usual, Ego gave the couple their privacy. She was on her own when Amanda came to meet her. "Mother, come, let's go check out the good luck box game. I heard that it works. You just need to write what you want to come to pass and throw it into the box and hold on to it until your wish came to pass. Come, let's go try it out." Ego was fascinated with the idea, and she went with Amanda to try it. They each secretly wrote down their wishes and put it into the small box which they left with Dozy. Dozy was not aware of this, and they decided to keep it a secret between themselves. The honeymoon soon came to an end, and they all returned to their base. The Go appreciated them for letting her experience the once-in-a-lifetime occasion with them, and she decided to return to Uminachi to face her business. But she promised to be visiting them often. The Go got to the regular park she usually boarded, and she paid for a seat. But as she wanted to enter the bus, she felt a tap on her shoulder. She looked back to see who it was, and she froze for a minute. "The Go, is this you?" The Go looked at the man from head to toe and asked, "Odanaka, what are you doing here?" Odanaka answered her, "I'm on my way to Uminachi for a business meeting. And you? Where are you going?" "I live in Uminachi," the Go answered. She entered the bus and went to get a seat. Odanaka went and sat next to her. The Go was really tensed. Odanaka was the last person she had expected to see. She thought she would never see him again in her life. Odanaka, on the other hand, was surprised to see Go at the park. He had not seen or heard from her for years, and was glad to finally see her again. "What happened? Why did you leave your village to Uminachi?" "I came back to look for you years ago, but I was told that you left the village, and nobody knew where you went to." Go forced a smile and told him that she just decided to leave to get better opportunities. "How is your family?" Go asked him. "I don't have a family. I lost my wife few years after we got married, and I have not married ever since then." "What about you? Does your family stay at Uminachi?" Go immediately said, "No, I'm not married." Odanaka continued to engage her in conversations, but Go was very careful to not mention Dozy. They got to their destination, and Odanaka went with Go to know where she stayed. Odanaka would visit her every other day, and the two old friends soon ignited their friendship. Odanaka had come to Uminachi to set up a business, and so he stayed for a few weeks. Within these few weeks he grew closer to Go, and Go on her part started to feel old flames being rekindled within her. But she was still not sure, and she kept her mouth shut. She did not mention Dozy to Odanaka, and she also did not mention Odanaka to Dozy. And then months later, Odanaka visited Go one evening and said that he had something important to discuss with her. Go was tensed as she listened to him. "Go, I know that it's not been too long we met again, but we are not strangers. We have known each other from childhood. Go, I believe it is fate that brought us together again, and I don't want this opportunity to slip by us again. Go, I have deep feelings for you. I love you, and if you would agree, I want us to get married." Go was shocked. What did he just say? Marry? Go could feel her breath leaving her. She had to let out a deep breath through her mouth. "Okay, Odanaka. Okay, I have heard you. Okay, you need to give me some time, please. I need to put myself in order. I will give you a response immediately." Odanaka left. Go started to pace about the room. This proposal came out of the blues, and she did not even know whether to cry or laugh. She was really confused. After hours of deep thoughts, she picked up her phone and called her son Dozy. Dozy was surprised to see his mother's call by that time of the night. He picked up, but Go's question threw him off balance. "I'm sorry to call this late, but I was just thinking. I wanted to know your thoughts. Let's assume, just assume. If I'm to get married tomorrow, how will you feel?" Dozy was surprised and said, "That's a good thing, mother. I will support you as long as it makes you happy." Go then asked again, "We are still assuming no. What if we discover your father? Will you accept him?" Dozy went silent for a while before speaking. "Mother, is anything the matter? These questions are unusual, but if we locate my father, that will be a miracle. You already explained all that happened to me, so I don't hold any grudge against him." Go heaved a sigh of relief and changed the conversation to something else. After they finished talking, Dozy, who was suspicious of his mother's questions, asked Amanda, his wife, "This one that my mother suddenly asked me about getting married again. Is there something I'm missing? Did she tell you anything? You know you women love weddings so much. Tell me, let me know on time so that I can support you guys with the planning." Amanda was surprised. "She didn't tell me anything, but if this is true, then I will be the most happiest person. I need to intensify my prayers at this point." Dozy looked astonished at his wife. He would never understand what freaked these women about weddings. The next time Odanaka visited Ego asked him a question. "Would you like to have children?" Odanaka was surprised, and told her that he would love to experience the joy that comes from being a father if it was possible. Ego was silent for a moment before going on to tell him about Dozy. She explained how she couldn't reach him, and then she had to leave her village when her parents threw her out of the house. "Few years later, I had heard that my parents were dead, and so there was no need for me to go back anymore." Odanaka found it unbelievable. In his wildest imagination, he would never have thought that he had a child somewhere. "Ego, is this real? Are you serious? Please take me to him. I want to see him, please. Ego had no choice than to take Odanaka to the city where Dozy lived. They arrived late at night when Dozy and his wife were relaxing. They were surprised to see his mother at the door by that time of the night, and she also came with a stranger. Ego quickly explained to Dozy how she had met Odanaka at the motor park months ago, but she kept the identities hidden from each other. This is the same Odanaka I have always told you about. This is your father. Dozy was shocked. He stood up and looked at Odanaka, who looked at him too. The father and son stood there face to face, not knowing whether to talk or to hug. Odanaka finally took the bold step and went forward to hug Dozy, who hugged him back. The father and son could feel a spark ignite in their hearts as they embraced each other after what seemed like ages. Odanaka whispered something in Dozy's ears and Dozy nodded to him, smiling. They turned and saw Ego and Amanda hugging themselves. Ego had gotten emotional and Amanda was comforting her. Suddenly, Amanda tapped Ego to turn back and look. Ego turned around only for her to see Odanaka extending a ring towards her. Being faced with it in reality now, Ego felt slightly embarrassed. She felt old for this. She was in her 40s and this was meant for younger people. She was still lost in thoughts when Amanda told her, "Please say yes." Ego jolted back to reality and accepted the ring. It was indeed a full celebration that night as they celebrated the family reunion and engagement. Amanda took Ego up to her room and brought out the good luck box she had kept since their honeymoon at the beachside. "Mother, I think it's time to break this. My good luck wish for you was for you to find true love and have a wedding of your own, and I kept praying to God about it every day. I'm so glad it has finally happened. Plus, there is an additional good news. I found out that I am pregnant. We are expecting a baby." Ego could not contain her joy. "This is great news. I'm going to be a grandmother. I think I will have to break my own box when I get back home, because my wish was for you to conceive and have a baby." Amanda was really touched. She hugged Ego. "I don't know what I did to deserve a mother-in-law like you. You are so pure in heart. I'm glad your dream is finally coming true." Ego disagreed. "No, I am the lucky one here. You are a blessing to me. I don't know what would have been of me if my son had gotten married to someone else. You understand me so well, and you always want to make me happy even when you don't have to. Thank you so much." Amanda changed the topic immediately. "Mother, we have a wedding to plan. Let's go meet the men." The mother-in-law and daughter-in-law went to meet the father and son, who were catching up, and Odanaka told them, "I and father were just discussing about the wedding." Amanda and Ego looked at each other surprised. Nothing was left out in the planning, and everyone was intentional about giving Ego a dreamy wedding. And on the day, Ego woke up before everybody and pinched herself over and over again to be sure that everything was real. Her wedding was the talk of the town for weeks, as Odanaka, Dozy and Amanda did everything within their power to make it a great one. After the wedding, Odanaka arranged for a 1-month honeymoon for both of them, and Ego felt like a youth in all of this. She was grateful for the journey of life and love. Time only delayed everything, but she still got what she desired in the end.